Story of how we first met. Here we go. Are we ready? All right, so we met in London for a graduate program when we were at the London School of Economics. And we were paired up in this cozy 5-room flat with 7 other international students. Okay, 2 bathrooms. Yeah. When I arrived, I was handed a packet with information on the other program participants. And in that packet was a photo of my roomie-to-be. Now this photo was fuzzy, photocopied, and maybe 1 by 1. And it looked like she might be a 40-year-old. And I was a little scared. I was like, oh good, I got the 40-year-old roommate of all these people in the program. So my girlfriend who was traveling with me at the time helped me rearrange the whole room so that we had maximal separation of space. So Jacqueline arrived about 20 minutes later, and wasn't I surprised to see that she was this very young, vivacious, beautiful woman. And I was like, oh good, we're going to have some fun now. I'm so relieved. So I didn't actually tell her this until years later, and so now it's kind of our joke that she's my 40-year-old friend. Obviously, we became fast friends. And I have many great stories from London and from the years since, but I decided this may not be the appropriate venue to share, about some times when we were running around Hyde Park, and I was having some asthma problems, so I was a little bit behind her. In truth, I was really out of shape. But Jacqueline was running, and a goose ran up behind her and bit her. And she started screaming, "Ah! The goose bit my butt!" I may or may not have fallen over laughing. On the ground, in all the goose poop. And everybody was staring. Didn't know why we were screaming, these ridiculous Americans in London and Hyde Park. I also didn't think that I should mention that the call that I got from her several months ago after her wine club or drinking team meeting. Let's be real, girls. It's not a wine club. It's a drinking team. It's okay. Okay, she called me to tell me that she had just instructed Evan to call her a saucy minx from now on. However, I did decide it was probably more appropriate to talk about something we all know. How amazing Jacqueline is. Jacqueline is the type of friend that people wish that they had. We have both been through some really wonderful times and some really difficult times, and she has been my rock for me, and I hope that I have been able to be that for her through the years. Here we go. She's always been one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I'm really glad that now she and I have both had the opportunity to stand in one another's weddings. One of the things that I admire most about Jacqueline is that she has this incredible ability to make each and every person in her life feel unique and special, and I'm sure that each one of you have felt this. She is giving, she is kind, she's supportive, intelligent, loving, hilarious, driven, and definitely on a warpath to take over the world with all the tasks that she manages to juggle in her life. And most of all, I love that Evan enhances all of these characteristics in her. Jack is one of my best friends, and I often wondered when and where she would find a guy who could possibly keep up with her without an intravenous supply of either Red Bull or 5-Hour Energy. And someone who can continuously challenge her to be even better than she already is. So enter Evan. 2 years ago, I got an ecstatic phone call from Jacqueline. She was pretty much screaming on the phone. I had this amazing date with this amazing guy. I can't wait for you to meet him. When are you flying to DC? I said, oh, funny, we'll be here in October. So my husband and I headed back out east October of 2010. And Brent and I met this Evan guy that I had heard so much about. And I must admit, we were very skeptical at first. Could Jack have really found her match? I mean, have you seen his hair? And did we really know that colorblind guys could dress so well? And most of all, have I ever seen anyone make Jacqueline smile so much? On our second encounter, I began to question his judgment. We had had a day at Eastern Market. You know where this is going, right? Yeah. We wandered the city, and unfortunately, the burger spot that we had wanted to go to was closed for the day. So Evan says, I've got this great place for us to go to. It was this Greasy Dive restaurant that he absolutely loved. And this place was so greasy, believe it or not, it truly burned to the ground like a year ago. And the only person in the world that was probably disappointed was this guy. Oh, were there? Okay, I've been told 2 other people were also disappointed. But what most endeared me to Evan and quickly won me over was his ability to jump right in and joke with us. Like he had always been part of this little friend family we have. Evelyn... Evelyn shares a voracious appetite for life, good food, adventure, and have the superhuman ability to cram more activities into their schedules than ever seems possible. Evan is also smart enough to keep girlfriends and family in the loop on important news. I have to tell you, it was so incredibly sweet. He called me the day before he proposed, and he said, Meg, I needed to call you. I said, okay, what's going on? He said, well, Jacqueline's mom gave me this ring that's really special, and I had it designed and put into her wedding ring that I'm going to propose to her this weekend when we go away. Oh! I believe that was the response. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong? Yeah. Okay, spot on. Good. So he was very trusting telling me this info, I have to tell you, because I immediately wanted to call Jacqueline screaming and say, oh my God, you're going to have the best weekend. I can't wait to hear all about it. But I promised Evan, and I kept my promise as hard as it was. So instead I called Pat. Pat, oh my God, are you so excited? So I think we squealed and cried for probably a good 10 minutes. Yeah. So the next day, the squealing and crying continued when I finally heard from Jack as I waited by my phone all day. We'd been moving into our new home, and I have my phone right here. I'm like, okay, all right, is it ringing now? Okay. But really, it was really important to him, and this says everything about his character, that he called the people that are important in Jacqueline's life. And it tells about the love that he shares with her and how much he really understands her. He's romantic, and most importantly, he loves my best friend like she deserves to be loved. I have never seen her more radiant than when I see her with Evan. I know how much she loves him, and it is so sweet watching them together. I know that due to these qualities, and so many more, Evan and Jacqueline will share a very fulfilling and lasting marriage together. I want to end this toast to my best friend and her new husband by thanking them for allowing me to be a part of this special day, and by wishing them many years of laughter, happiness, and to your very own happily ever after. Please raise your glasses in honor of the newly minted Quasnabels.
for the camera.